Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Whiteboard Wednesdays with Werner. And I'm once again with Richard Raymond, our DevOps lead for OCS Cloud. And if you had a look at our first episode that we've done together in this little mini series, we touched on kind of DevOps and how our platform as a service component to the Oxide Cloud, kind of gels into that. But as you know, and as our audience know, it's more than just PaaS, right? We've got S3 or Object Store as a Service. We have infrastructure as a service, your traditional virtual machines. We have GPU attached virtual machines that we can provide. We've got multi-tier storage on block as well. So we've got, tier 1 flash, tier 2 flash, that type of thing. And we have we've kind of expanded that whole, we can even do co-location, right?
Yeah.
And we've got customers that literally host infrastructure in our racks, and those machines are connected to our storage platforms, providing them flash storage. And they also have parts of their estates on the virtual machine infrastructure and on the platform as a service infrastructure.
Yeah.
It's a true, proper hybrid config, right?
Yeah.
So maybe, Rich, you can just give us a little bit more from a technical perspective how all of these things kind of fit together and kind of building off of our first episode.
Absolutely, yeah. So as we've grown along, we've also found that certain technologies suit certain workloads, which is I suppose fairly obvious. But what we've also found is that certain technologies were requested by many of our customers.
Yeah.
And what we then wanted to do is obviously expand that service offering whilst keeping a nice, contained, private world for you to consume these services.
Yeah.
And particularly in that DevOps flow, still maintaining that sort of dynamic ability where applicable. So we've got our infrastructure as a service solution that now facilitates and supports our PaaS solution. We have, as you said, block, S3, all these sort of standard services you kind of expect in a cloud that most people are looking for, where things can't be containerized, which is that very modern DevOps kind of approach. You still might have a traditional IaaS VM that you might need to use for whatever purposes.
Especially Windows related.
Particularly Windows workloads. Windows doesn't do particularly well being containerized.
Yeah.
The way it's architected at the moment doesn't really suit it particularly well. So you want your Windows workloads in a VM.
Correct.
For its that's just suits it. It's optimal. Yeah,
it's optimal.
So you have all these different supporting technologies, and all of that then needs to be instantiated in a private space for the customer.
Yeah.
So that's something we've also been working on to produce and to deliver to our customers, is this more holistic ecosystem of services that you can consume. Obviously, coming in with the DevOps as a first-class opportunity to build out what you need to build out.
Yeah.
But in many cases, customers need to arrive in with their traditional sort of monolithic applications, and then they want to be able to convert that.
Correct.
And you need a place to run it, to move it, to have your data in the same locations, all within that sort of secure space.
Yeah. And that's really, was one of the needs that we saw. We started out initially just with the platform as a service and really drove towards that when, microservices was all the hype and cloud native architectures and things like that. But we found that the market, wasn't there yet. And like you say, there's still quite a lot of Windows-based workloads which really didn't fit too well on that platform, if at all. So, we went and extended that. But to bring all of that together is that networking component, right? It is the ability to have your private kind of instance of a data center or of a compute environment to which the PaaS, environments can connect your traditional virtual machines. If you need S3 access, and even if you've got bare metal machines that we can also bring those in. And that we can extend, through gateways and through routing and all of that, we can extend that into a hyperscaler, right?
Absolutely.
Or into a private, like your own on-prem environment as well.
Yeah.
So it really gives us, what it's done is it's given us huge flexibility in the type of solutions we can offer organizations and how to stitch that together. And we actually have customers running like that.
Absolutely.
So it's the proof is in the pudding. They're running like that. If you want to spin up your own Hyper-V cluster in our location, or working with us in terms of using our bare metal boxes that we can provide, and connect that up to the rest of the environment, it's been done. We've done it. So I think it's really something unique that OCS does, and lends itself to customers who have these types of needs, right? And are still working with multiple different technologies. It's not this utopia of, oh, we want to be in this area, and oh, we don't use this. Bring it. Let's see what you've got. And and it's not always pretty, but let's have a look at it and let's see how we can make it work. So we're up for those type of challenges. And we've got various ways of how we solve those. So Rich, I think that, coupled with the fact that we are building out a fully fledged second site as well, I mean, that brings a lot of value to customers as well, having a 2 data center strategy. A lot of those customers don't necessarily have a 2 data center strategy. What does that mean for guys, for people in their environments?
So, I mean, I think there's always this need for things like DL or HA, so your disaster recovery or high availability sites, and typically once you've transitioned into a new ecosystem or architecture, you want to be able to span that. You want to be able to be geographically separated, but without onerous connections and routings and funny things like that.
They're not that funny, actually.
No, not funny.
Working with them.
Make you pretty grumpy.
It's not funny. Nobody's laughing.
Nobody laughs. Nobody laughs at Medwin. And so that's what we're trying to deliver to our customers, is the ability to scale and span across geographic locations while still taking advantage of the private networks, but having those networking, or having the network and traffic routed pretty much on your behalf where applicable, so that you can just throw your workloads around. So you can have HA, you can run out of either DC, or you can have your primary running on one side, DR on the other side. Correct. And you can have that distribution of workloads from your resiliency perspective. So,
and I mean, and all of that kind of infrastructure is what we've built, invested in, and what we look after, right? So we want to provide a 2 data center, at least a 2 data center option, with effectively the same services, same level of service, and you can operate out of that. I mean, we've got customers using things like Cloudflare, for instance, to manage their traffic and their routing and things like that. So, we have that up and running, and we've got, the proof is in the pudding. The guys are using it. So I think, where we're going with OCS, in terms of extending the features, extending the operations and the operability of it, it's an exciting time actually for us to do this. So Richard, thank you once again for joining us and lending your expertise to the show, and really appreciate having you. And thank you so much for the audience for watching.